Hello, me again at this angle again. I am doing another get ready with me kind of thing because I felt like the last one went well in terms of chats and stuff, and I'm not really doing a massive amount today. So it's Christmas Eve. Apologies for the late uploads of VLOGmas 22 and VLOGmas 23. Busy, obviously Friday night, went out for a curry with my dad, and then Saturday night, so last night I was at my friend Elma's house, which I didn't tell you anything about because it was just nibbles with the girls. So yeah, I've done all of my wrapping, thank goodness. I've put all the presents under the tree and it looks like there's sod all there, but it's not about the quantity. About the quality, although I'm pretty sure that that's not there either, but hey ho, what you gonna do? So I had a massive lay-in this morning. I think I stayed in bed until 10 o'clock. So if you know me and you've been watching me, you know that that's not really me. So I must have needed it. Must have needed it a lot, so yeah. And then I had porridge for breakfast, followed by a whole packet of party rings, followed by 200 grams of dark chocolate. And that's why I have put on a stone this month, because pretty much every day has been like that. My mental health is not in check at the moment, if you haven't realised. So yeah, I don't have Holly. I haven't had Holly since Friday when she went to school. This is the second Christmas in a row. Second Christmas in a row where I haven't had her on Christmas Eve to be able to tuck her into bed and have her on Christmas morning where she wakes up and sees that Father Christmas has been. And this is the second Christmas without my mum, and people who say that time's a healer fucking lied, because to be perfectly honest, my behaviour this month has been appalling. Yeah, my behaviour has been absolutely fucking appalling, really. So I don't even know what to say, like, do you know what I mean? Sorry. See if that's going to be good enough. So I've just been this morning, like, literally laying on the sofa with this overwhelming feeling of not being able to move. There's nothing, well, there is something physically wrong with me. I've got a really, really sore ear, and I feel like I've got an ear infection. I'm managing to stave off the pain with paracetamol and ibuprofen, and I called NHS Direct last night and they said my symptoms aren't severe enough for me to have an appointment with the out of hours GP in the hospital, but if it gets worse then to call them. So I woke up this morning and it actually felt okay but progressively through the course of the morning, and now we're about 12:30. Yep, bang on 12:30. It's gotten worse, and I am dosed up on paracetamol and ibuprofen, and I can still feel the pain. So I do have some cocodamol left over from my operation, but I literally only have 6 tablets left. So I'm gonna save those for tomorrow if this gets worse, because I've got a feeling that it will. And it's too late to call NHS Direct Wales now, because by the time I get down to the hospital, get myself appointments, then get myself to a pharmacy, all the pharmacies and the supermarkets will be closed. Because the woman on the phone to me last night said, I've already checked this for a patient previously about what pharmacies were open on Christmas Eve, and the only ones that are open are the ones in the supermarket in your local area anyway. And then they all close at 4, and then after that you haven't got anything in your local area. So I would never get that turned around in 4 hours, so I'm just going to have to dose up on painkillers. So that's less than ideal, but it is what it is. I mean, you know, I've had worse. It's just not a desirable thing, really, is it? So yeah, that's that. So I'm just getting ready now. No idea what time I'm supposed to be going around to Tom's house. I am looking forward to going around to Tom's house, but I just still have this overwhelming feeling of sad. Because obviously I want to be with my own family. Not that I don't want to be with his. It makes me sound like I'm really ungrateful. That's not what I'm saying. It's just like, you know, last Christmas I was at Eleanor's house with her family, and then when I came home I went round to Kelly's house and I spent it with her family, and like, yeah, just hard. So for all of y'alls that do have the time to go and spend with your family, spend it wisely, because you never know when that shit's going to be ending. And families are a pain in the bums. I completely agree with you. They're annoying, they're a nuisance, but when you don't have annoying nuisance family around, you have this massive sense of empty. So even though I have Holly, so say if I even had her now, like obviously I would feel more upbeat, I would imagine, but I still think because I've lost my mum, I would still have this sense of empty, and that's a very confusing place to be, because you know you should be happy and grateful with what you've got, and like, you know, having a child is amazing and stuff like that, but and then to have that right in front of you and have cuddles and kisses and stuff and still feel this sense of empty, and you'd feel like guilty for feeling those things, and it's really confusing because, you know, society says that you should be happy around Christmas. I feel like there's a lot of pressure on everybody to be happy at Christmas, and I don't think that that's fair. How can I cry and put my makeup on at the same time? That shit's not gonna work, is it? Stop crying, you stupid cow. Stupid fucking cow, stop crying. Ugh. And like, I was wrapping my Christmas presents yesterday, and then you forget sometimes that there's such a thing as like sad Christmas songs. Or like some of the lyrics are quite like poignant and like they're totally relatable, and that's obviously why a good song is a good song, because lots of people can relate to the song. But the John Lewis advert is one that I hadn't heard for a long time. And it really fucking got to me. It really tickles my feels. As you might well have seen. So, let's try and talk about something more positive now. It was lovely seeing my friends last night. It was just 4 of us. Me, Mandy, Eleanor and Chloe. So that was nice. Talking about adult things. It was really quite like, Eleanor's mum was there. She was like, girls, why are you talking about such serious subjects? You're young women. And we were like, no, we're 30. We're nearly 30. She's like, you're young. Get over it. Stop talking about such sensible things. So yeah, that was quite funny. I saw the branches of it looking at me. No sympathy. Where have you gone? I'm getting older, I need something to rely on. Maybe what I need to do then, if I've done that arsehole thing, is to lighten shit up with light stuff. I don't know. When you blend it, it blends out into fuck all. That is the most frustrating thing in the world. I finished my advent calendar today. I think that's half of, like, not half of the reason, but like when I'm having like chocolate in the morning and it's triggering my sweets. So if I allow myself to have a little bit of chocolate, it kind of like triggers this like frenzy, I would say. It's the only way I can describe it. And then I'm just like, oh well, fuck it. I need to have the rest of all the chocolate and the sweets and stuff. Whereas if I like be really disciplined and have a whole day where I don't have it, it's much easier to stay away from it. But even that tiny 1 square of advent calendar chocolate sends me off into this frenzy. It's kind of like, I've said this before a million times, and people look at me dumb because I feel like this should be like an actual recognised thing. Like, if you're an alcoholic and you put yourself into an environment where, a wet environment, or you have 1 sip of a drink, you'll most probably, not always, but very likely to then go on a massive binge, because you've allowed yourself that one little bit. And I feel like it's exactly the same with me for food and sweets, or junk food, or crap food, or what. It doesn't have to necessarily be like chocolate and sweets and ice cream. It can be crisps and dips and stuff like that as well, and like burgers, obviously like veggie burgers and stuff. But if I allow myself to have that one, it kind of sends me into this like need. So sugar is as addictive as cocaine, I think it is. They did this study and it lights up the same part of the brain that cocaine lights up when you take it. So you can become quite reliant on sugar. Obviously some people have different tolerances than other, but I think it's quite clear to me that I am one of those people that, like, if an advent calendar sized piece of chocolate is then creating me to have a whole packet of party rings plus a 200 gram packet of chocolate, just because I'm like, I'm not even hungry, like I just fancied it, or I felt like I needed it. I'm obviously that person that once I have the sugar, I need it. It's like when somebody's trying to quit cigarettes and they're like, oh, you know, then you wouldn't really just have 1 puff on a cigarette, you'd end up having the whole cigarette. And then you'd be like, oh, well, fuck it, I've had the cigarette, I may as well carry on smoking for the rest of the day. Oh, well, I've got cigarettes left in my packet, I may as well finish the packet. And you're like, oh, well, we're in the middle of a week, so I'll have another packet, and then I'll start again next week. And it's like that, it's that kind of thing. I hope I'm explaining that in a good way. By the way, if you want a cry-proof mascara, this e.l.f. one in this shaped bottle, it doesn't have a name, with that shaped wand, which I hated to begin with, but now I'm okay with, is really, 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 really cry-proof. So, just a little hint and tip there for you. I'm going to go and finish the rest of my face off camera now because I've kind of run out of things to say, and I just saw a text message pop up from Tom, which I need to reply to, so see you later. Hey! So I'm just casually driving down the motorway and there's an accident literally about 50 metres in front of me, and we've all been brought to a standstill now. I can see I can see about 100 metres ahead of me the motorway's clear, because obviously we've all been stopped. So I've turned my engine off, like I've got the phone in my hand and stuff, but like literally it's safe. Everyone's stood still, and we have been for the last 10 minutes, but it's not exactly nice on Christmas Eve when, you know, you have accidents and stuff. And people do, and that's when accidents happen, because they want to get home quick and their minds are elsewhere. And yeah, I can see behind me on the bridge there's a police car with his sirens on. A first response ambulance has just flown down the hard shoulder, so praise be that that person or the people involved in the accident literally 50 metres in front of me are okay. It's just not a nice thing to happen on Christmas Eve, is it? So yeah,